Let me guess, you're coming to DragonCon for the first time to meet a certain celebrity guest. Well, you wouldn't be alone. I think that's probably the number one reason that draws in a lot of newcomers, and I'm no exception myself. My very first DragonCon in 2008, the reason I went was to meet the cast of Firefly, and it's a decision that pretty much changed the course of my life. So, I want to help you have the best con and explain some of the different ways that you can act with media guests and give you some tips and advice as someone who's been to over 16 Dragon Cons, as well as a handful of other conventions around the country like San Diego, New York, and MegaCon, to name a few. Welcome to another episode of How to Dragon Con. My name is Kong. I will be your guide, and today we are going to talk about celebrity photo ops, autographs, Walk of Fame, panels, and pretty much anything else related to meeting a guest. I'll have timestamps below so you can skip around, but let's start with the easiest thing to explain, which would be celebrity photo ops. For a while now, this has been ran by a company called Epic Photo Ops, and I will put their link below so you can poke around and see what kind of info is on there. As you can see, they are no stranger to the convention scenes, and no matter what time of year you look at that link, they will probably have some upcoming Comic Cons that they are working with, and my experience with them across several events has been great. Here's 3 things to keep in mind when you are looking at their site. Number 1, they may not even put up anything for sale until about a month away from the event. And of course, they are slowly adding more names and making changes as the event draws closer. In fact, any type of schedule may not even come out till about a week before the con itself. Number 2, you don't have to buy in advance, but if it's for a guest that you kind of have a feeling is super duper popular and may sell out in advance, you might want to go ahead and just buy it on the website before the con even comes around. But other than that, you don't really have to worry. You can always buy on site on different days. In fact, you can probably buy the photo op right up to like 15 minutes before the session starts for that guest. And number 3, in recent years, Epic has also started to sell tickets for autographs, although this is going to be done in the Walk of Fame and more on that later, but it's not done in the Epic photo ops. I think they're just kind of handling some of it in advance. Again, you don't have to buy it in advance. You can usually do the autographs in person and they rarely completely sell out. As for the process itself, the Epic photo ops usually happens in the lowermost level of the Marriott. I'm going to try to put the name and room number if I can find it on the screen. Once you enter, you're going to see there's staff behind some desks where you can make last minute purchases, any changes, as well as look at the upcoming schedule and pricing for the celebrities. Once you go past that, you're going to see a large holding area where you will probably spend about 15-20 minutes waiting prior to your start time. Their staff is pretty organized. They tell you where to go and they let you know of any updates that have happened. And you'll see this on the receipt if you buy in advance. They tell you to show up about 15 minutes early before the actual start time. I wouldn't show up too much earlier than that because A, they may not even let you wait in the holding area, but B, you're just going to be kind of clogging up the area and making it not convenient for everyone else. Now, once it's your turn and the session actually starts, it is going to go by quick. We are talking like 5 to 10 seconds quick. That is the amount of time you're going to have with a celebrity. They will have tables for you to put your stuff down before you walk in for your photo. This is not the time to be trying to have a conversation. This is not the time to get something signed or give them a gift. It's literally shake their hand at most, turn towards the camera, click, and you are on your way. It's basically an assembly line trying to move hundreds of fans in the span of 20 to 30 minutes, so you just got to keep on moving. As a side note, please don't touch the celebrity unless they feel comfortable with it, and don't do anything awkward like asking for a hug either. Now, once you're done with that, you're going to walk onto the back. They will have a row of printers that are printing out the photos as you come out. They'll hand you yours, and you're pretty much done. Here's a pro tip. You might want to buy a photo sleeve or protector in advance so that you don't have to fork over $5 or $10 right there on the spot because they'll probably sell a few just to make some extra money. Let's switch gears and talk about the Walk of Fame, which is in the second to most lower level of the Marriott. Again, I'll try to post the actual level name and room number here, but it is a giant ballroom that literally takes up about half of the space on that floor. You're going to have to line up usually before it opens, which is 10 a.m. most days, but it's 1 p.m. on Fridays, so just make a note of that. And once you're inside, you will see all these different tables with banners for each of the different guests. They all have their own table. They're going to have their handler as well for the money and transactions part of it. Typically, the cons will kind of arrange people according to fandom, so they're all kind of grouped together, but it could just be kind of haphazard too. So what I usually like to do the first time entering the Walk of Fame is just do a quick lap, get a feel for who's there, and make a note of who you want to go meet that day. Now, the Walk of Fame is where you're going to have your best chance at having a meaningful conversation or interaction with that guest. You will have to get in a separate line for each guest, but once it's your turn, you're going to first talk to the handler and tell them what it is that you want because they are expecting you to buy something. While it is technically free to talk to somebody, if they see a long line behind you, they're not really going to let you linger for probably more than a few seconds if you haven't forked over any money. Speaking of money, so essentially what you're going to pay for is the autograph. In recent history, the prices are pretty much starting at 30, 40 minimum per autograph. So that's what you're going to pay for. It's kind of confusing. So let me try to clear it up as much as possible. If you brought an item of your own for the person to sign, you will pay the money, let's say $40, and they will sign it. Sometimes they will inscribe it for free, saying, to you, to whoever. However, if you forgot an item or never brought anything for that guest to sign, they will give you a complimentary headshot that they will sign for you. But you can't get the headshot for free, right? It's either or. It's either the item you brought or the headshot if you didn't bring an item. Now, some guests will have other things they offer at the table. So maybe a selfie, maybe a combination of both autographs and a selfie. Some of them, especially voice actors, will do types of videos for a certain charge as well. Now, again, there's no guarantee that they're going to offer all those things, but pretty much everyone in the Walk of Fame will at least do autographs. Now, some FAQs that I've seen over the years related to celebrity interactions. First, no one really knows in advance who's coming to the con until the con announces it themselves. Otherwise, it's just rumor and speculation. Second, please keep in mind, every guest is subject to cancellation, even last minute. We're talking even up to the day before the con starts. I always want you to keep that in the back of your mind in case you had your heart set on meeting just one person, because unfortunately, your badge is not refundable, non-transferable. If you bought something like an epic photo op or autograph in advance, of course you'll get a refund for that, but you will not get one for your badge. What days will the guest be there? Well, unless DragonCon specifically announced it as they announced the guest, you can pretty much assume that the guests will be there at bare minimum the 3 main days, which are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can, of course, go into the app, click on the guest name, and see if they have any type of scheduled events for Monday, whether that's a photo op, whether that's a panel. And if they're not scheduled for Monday, you can probably make a safe assumption that they will have already left by Monday. Can you see the autograph prices in advance if it's not listed on Epic Photo Ops? Unfortunately, no. Historically, the con has just not announced these types of things in advance. So unless it's an Epic photo op or an autograph that Epic is selling, there's really no way to know the price in advance. But again, that's why you want to check out Epic and the other cons that they're doing in case those other cons may have prices, and it'll at least give you an idea for what kind of estimate you can expect when DragonCon comes around. Do they accept credit cards? Epic definitely does, of course, if you buy it in advance or even on site. Most of the celebrity guests in the Walk of Fame, from what I recall in recent history, have started to accept credit cards as well. But like most things in life, it never hurts to carry a little cash just in case. What if it's a non-media guest? So it's not someone who's been in movies, TVs, or cartoons. Then honestly, I don't know, because they're typically not going to be in the Walk of Fame. So people like artists or authors, you may want to check on their social media to see where they may be appearing, but they won't be in the Walk of Fame, and it's kind of hard to figure out if they'll do any signings at all. Now, if you have any questions that I did not cover in regards to celebrity interactions, please feel free to share it below. From all the years that I've gone, these can be really fun and memorable experiences and interactions, although I will warn that they have gotten more and more costly over the years. Hope that helps. Follow along and subscribe for all things DragonCon. I would still love to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you haven't finished your DragonCon packing list yet, feel free to check the Amazon link I have below. It's a great way to support me without having to really go out of your way if you're already buying stuff on Amazon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.